Alright, hey y'all, it's Pizza Hulk. We're here in Call of the Wild. I'm on the Reventuli coast. Looking for moose zones. I'm kind of curious. I think Yukon will probably be, if I ever decide to do a moose Great One grind, it would probably be in the Yukon, but I wanted to check you too. Reventuli too? That sounds good. Reventuli all. And just, flush out my map a bit more. Where are you? Because honestly, I lightly grazed this map. Um, but it's morning here where I'm at in Virginia, and mid morning, and I've been a little busy, but in just the last few days, week or so, every time I turn my PlayStation on, another game is updating, and it just got me thinking about sort of how games are today as opposed to the way they were in the past. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not like stuck in the past. I'm not one of those people that I listen to new music. I listen, I use new technology. I'm all about. I'm just not a good old days kind of person. You know what I mean? Like good old days will always be subjective. I always get those two words mixed up. Anyway, it'll be based on what you felt, saw, the environmental factors that made you who you are, and what your childhood was. We have a tendency to look back on our childhood as, a time of innocence or, freshness maybe, everything's new. But that doesn't make it better, you know. Uh, I'm a Gen Xer, which means I have boomer parents and, those relatives, my aunts, uncles, all those people, And then my grandparents, of course, would have been what someone termed the greatest generation. I think that's one of the dumbest things to call yourselves. It's pretty a lot of hubris there. But I can't imagine my grandmother ever looking me in the face and said, "We are the greatest generation." Like that just, and maybe that's helpful to why I have my views today. I can't imagine. She'd have been like, "Listen, a lot of stuff happened, but that didn't make us great. Or always great." Anyway, not the point. You know, I feel like my generation has a carryover a little bit from that boomer generation of like, well, everything was better when I was a kid. It wasn't. It's like an impossibility. That's what the future is. That's what the world works. Hey, guess what? It's better now than it was in the 1400s. Ooh, there's a Moosey. Hey. Here we go, getting zones, people. Who's that? Is that a big boy? No. Oh, they look so pretty. A bunch of them. Right, where's my wind? Yeah. Oh, you going over there too? Oh, hey, where you going? But this idea that like, oh, there we go. The world was a better place when people could catch polio, when cholera and malaria roamed the world and destroyed it, when, oh, there's another one back there. Lots of threes. It's a new map though, so it might just be these two zones. It's not a very big chunk of water. I was just curious to see if it was worth putting a tent in here. I think we'll scoot down this way, just a skosh, and see if I can get this back area. Was the world a better place when the only way you could get your news was through a newspaper or through the radio? It might feel like it. You might have those memories of, oh, we used to sit around the. There's a four. We used to sit around the radio and our whole family. We had to use our imaginations and blah blah blah, and that's great. And that is a good memory you have with your family. But that doesn't mean it was necessarily better, you know. Nothing. I'm gonna have to stop hunting with the 300. It's just, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. There we go. Go ahead and drop right there, right there, right there. That'll work. There you go. Nice animation. You know, you might have a memory of growing up having a wood burner stove, and there are still people, you know, to this day in the United States growing up with wood burning stove as their main source of heat in their house. Uh, so it's not something that's completely disappeared or anything. But let's face it, the world's better off with central air and heating. I particularly, oh, I got it. I did hit him on the first one, and it was a vital. Anyway. Maybe it was the second hit. Let's see what we did here. I'm curious. Oh yeah, it was just the one hit. So I'm having trouble with this 300 and shooting blanks, and that's all it can be at this point. I mean, I don't really understand it, but like, it's happened before. This gun and the Solican, kind of known for doing this, but yeah. And I'm not a fan of either the 338 or the 7mm. They're great guns, sure, but they're only one shot. So. Tis what it is. Get in there. I knew it. Oh, I picked up a whitetail zone. I was like, wait, I shot two different moose. That's what it is. So I nailed that first one. I don't know who you are. Well, sure. Well, that makes you feel a little better. You know, I know they updated this game just a minute ago, so hopefully they fixed the 300. I'm just so used to, well, I'm not used to the new animations where they don't have an animation necessarily when they get shot. This is what I'm looking for right back here. Could be whitetail though. We'll take that. So a couple whitetail zones and a couple moose zones, not bad. Is it tent worthy? I don't really know. I mean, I made it up here in time. God, there's just nothing out here. But there's nothing out there really either. Don't know. We'll save the tent for now. Pop back here. So let me bring it back around to the point, and that'll sort of help too. So games that are released now, you know, aren't ever really complete. That's both, in my mind, it's both good and bad. You know, let's take one of the most classic, well-known, old school, considered one of the best games ever. James Bond, GoldenEye, right? Uh, it's the same game it was when it was released. It was the same game a year after it was released, 2 years after it was released, however many years it's been now, right? Same game. How is there a question mark in the middle of the water? Curiouser and curiouser. Or, let's pick another one, Super Mario 3. There we go. Great game, same game it always has been. And I'm not saying, hey, don't mess with that or whatever. I'm just saying that's how it used to be. And you didn't get any. And this is where I would call the negatives are coming in. They couldn't add anything. They couldn't change anything. They couldn't go in there and, oh, we got this place where double jump, or they can sneak behind the screen, or they can do something, cheaty or whatever. It was just part of the game. And then, glitches were glitches, problems were problems. There used to be a really, in GoldenEye, you could certainly run into issues with the mobs just spawning ridiculously over and over, which was great because you could just kind of just sit in one place and blast and blast and blast. It was a lot of fun, but there we go. So moosing right up off the bat. So I know they're there. Let's try to go somewhere else then. I'm going to head down this road and then cut back in after I get this zone down here. But you couldn't go in and fix something either. And let's say you wanted to add a new bad guy to make it, or change some mechanics, or add some new guns. You couldn't do that. So all that I really do enjoy. I love, DLC and add-ons and all the fun things you can do. Texting. So in that aspect, I really think that's a massive, massive improvement. You get more to your game, and you get to new things. If there's a glitch or an issue, it's not necessarily always going to be there, and that's great. Absolutely, like I said, it adds more viability to the game. It adds a cash, you know, advantage to the developers and to the teams and stuff, so they can continue to make money off the same game, work on it, and add new content, and whatever. But what I've noticed, what I was thinking about this morning, is that the issue is that your game, you know, as it evolves, can turn into a very different game. Point in context here is Call of the Wild. When I started playing Call of the Wild, they had just released the dog DLC, and I was, you know, I just was looking for a hunting game. I wanted something to wander around in the woods and shoot stuff with. Something that wasn't really like heavily invested in role play, story, grinding, etc. I don't need to get 14,000 stuff with my rifle. I don't need to find gunpowder. You know what I mean? Because that's the kind of games I play a lot, and I just wanted to, jump in and run around and shoot stuff, man. They're like, oh, and without other people trying to shoot me. Just me and the woods and the animal. And it delivered. But the point is when I first started, there was a lot of hubbub a lot of rancor and conjecture in the community over, well, this isn't the same game. If you play Classic, you know that this game is pretty different than Classic. I've never actually played it. I play on PlayStation, so I don't think that it's available for me. But obviously, this is a very, you know, comparatively speaking, today, this is a completely different game, Hunter Classic. Throw in the fact that when I, like I said, when I started playing, um, people were upset. The community was upset. They were saying, "Dogs, you know, that's not the thing. You know, we had to track, we had to climb through the mud and the muck. You know, DLC weapons, you know, 7mm is just plenty of gun that you need to take down the moose. It's the perfect weapon. You don't need these other guns. You know." There was a lot of like enough aggression and rancor that when I started playing, I said, "Well, I'm gonna play for real, like these guys, because I don't want to be a wimp like these guys." So I started playing with. I started out in Leighton Lakes and Hirschfelden. Your beginning guns, no dog. And honestly, I almost quit playing. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "This is stupid. Why did they give and all these animals that I can't shoot and get the score for it? Why do they give me bullets and guns that can't even hardly kill any of these animals? I can't find any of these friggin' animals." And at the time, and again, I'm still not sure if it's a rumor or not. It had never really been proven to me. I guess I just haven't really done all the research either. But if you don't pick up your animals, apparently they disappear from the map. I think that's. I thought that was crap then. I think it's crap now. I don't think that's how this game works. But if it did, can you imagine? There's like at least, you know, 10, 15 bear, 10, 15 moose. Not, oh, piebald. Out there. And then looks like a, not you. You. What are you? Another 4. Kind of want that piebald female though. Not the best angle, but I'm not really looking for anything major. I just want her dead. Look like a hit to me. I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's kind of what you have to do these days. With this gun in particular, unfortunately. Oh, it's a boat. I'm like, what is happening? Okay. But I was really frustrated and irritated and was like, man, this just doesn't seem to make a lot of... she's not dead. Who knows? It might not have counted it as a hit. Let's see if we have any blood. Oh, we got a little hit on her. There was a time where I would say she'd die anyway. But I'm not too sure about that these days. So I'm just gonna keep low, look around a little bit, check the map, see if she dies. I guess I'm gonna have to pull out the sub-mill or the 338. This 300 is just not reliable anymore. Right now. So yeah, so like I said, until then I was like, you know what, forget it. Let me try one of these other maps. that I had gotten out of my bundle, right? Let me pull out the DLC and get this M1, or actually I used the Eckers first. And, actually have a weapon that can shoot 4 to 8s instead of just running around with the 243. Trying to sling as many bullets as you can into the animals that are too big for it to take down, hoping for the best. Yeah, it's not going to die, I don't think. Well, I know they turned the spook radius up, so if there had been anything goofing around over there, it's definitely ran away. But got it on Silver Ridge. I still couldn't take out, the elk, I think, on that map. Uh, but it was a major improvement, much better weapons. Eventually I made my way to TOR and some of the other maps and really started having a good time. And, I started using the dog. Uh, you know, Went through the training process, so, I don't know if I got every animal, but I was certainly making sure and getting way more animals I'd shot picked up than before I had the dog, obviously. And I thought, well, oh, there's more water. So there's this little strip. Shoot. Yeah, I know. I screwed up. I ran over here like a nut. Oh my God. I answered your question. I don't know why people have to make things so difficult. But ooh, hello. There we go. My wind is not good. So we'll give this Goopy 300 another try and see if it does what it should do. Not a very good angle for anything really on that. Let's try to creep over. Let's go prone here. And I found, basically my thinking was, well, you know what, the game is what it is right out at that particular time. They did have dogs, they did have DLC, they did have other maps for me to try. So, and personally, now that I've played this game so much, I think Leighton Lakes and Hirschfelden they're not good beginner maps, especially if you have a DLC map like TOR or Rancho, where you can use the first 3 weapons right from the get-go on every single animal. So my conclusion was back then, well, alright, things change in games and you move on. But I'm kind of getting I at least am starting to understand what people were kind of upset about when I first started playing, back, like I said, when they first released the dogs, that this was a different game. It wasn't quite the same game. Well, it's starting to feel like that for me now. And like I said, I'm okay with change. I'm okay with, making the game better or make more sense. It's still not the best angle. But I guess what I was thinking about this morning, like I said, I woke up with all these updates on my PlayStation. All my games are getting updated, things are getting changed or whatever. And it's not just DLC. There's some major, changes going on. Like I mentioned, the spook rate's different now. Uh, just a lot of things are happening in this game. Like if I bought this game today and started learning how to play it, I'd be learning how to play a game a bit differently. Where are you going, bud? You can walk on water. Mm, that was kind of janky. Let's move. But this is a vastly different game than it was, a year ago. Uh, Especially when you throw in all the different, changes to this game, the resets. And I think in particular that's kind of a crazy thing to do for your your gamers. The idea being, well, hey, we've got some issues. We're trying to make it so it's less laggy for players and a better game overall for you, and the animals work better, and this, that, and the other. Okay. And it's a shame that the game wasn't working like it should have been. It was never working like it should have been. Like the animal zones, for instance, used to be you could only really have one animal show up in your zones. Then they changed it to two, which apparently it was always supposed to be that way. And then, but that depended on how long the name of the animal was. So if you had a southwestern Spanish ibex or whatever it is, that would, even when they could have two animals in the need zone, show up on your map, like I'm doing here now. Uh, then if the name was too long with the first animal that you found, you still only got one zone. Now we can find up to 4 animals on those zones, and it doesn't seem to matter how long their name is. Uh, but I'm telling you, and now I don't know if it's changed, but back in the day, you could easily have 5 animals on the zone. So, oh, he's right over there. What's up, big boy? Oh, I like the color on this one. You're very fuzzy. Pretty good looking moose, I think. Got that gold look. He was scratching his nose when I got him. And so let me get to the point. The point is that you could buy a game, a brand new game that came out today. And again, I'm not knocking it. I'm just explaining. A brand new game that came out today, and what is going on here? Huh. This is like an unofficial. Wow, I didn't even know these were on the map, y'all. Unofficial little way to outpost or whatever you call them. Neat. And then a year later, that game it's not even the same game. It might not feel like the same game to you. It might not be the same game to you. Consider my maps that got reset. What I had them, my grinds, my stands, my normal routes, the animals that I hunted, like on Tiawara, my turkey zone was completely taken off the map. Quattrocalinus. Sorry, I was thirsty. Quattrocalinus. 100% was in the definitely in my top 3 favorite maps, and honestly a contender for my favorite map. Now it would probably be at the bottom of the list after the reset. Uh, the addition of new animals on new maps. So again, if I started today, there's ducks and Tiawara. Uh, you can go back and watch a bunch of Tiawara videos that and they should put ducks in this game. They should put ducks on this map. They should put something else on this map, right? Yeah, but like I said, now I've got to factor that into like the red deer ground I've got set up. Do I, am I out there shooting ducks, adding pressure into a place where I've got my red deer? I don't know. I know they made some changes, but I don't think, they took the drink zones away from the chamois. I liked hunting the chamois. I thought it was kind of fun, the little devil goats or whatever they are. And they're so far have been a bit elusive to find in their feed zones and their rust zones. Bears only drink at night, which I think is the dumbest thing. To me, that there's a dumb change, right? Especially if you want to grind. I don't think setting. I would, I would love to see someone set up a successful moose grind just on their feed and rest zones. Nobody's doing that because there's already like hundreds of moose zones on these new maps, and apparently in Medved now there's like 130, and I don't know how many are here, but in New England there's like 150. That's drink zones, okay? Never mind where they're out doing their other thing. Or I'd like to see who's got their great one bear grind set up on feed and rest zones. It's not going to happen. A, you've got to find them all. B, they're at different times. So a bear can eat at, 4 to 8 in the morning, and the bear can eat at whatever, 2 to 6 in the. I'm just making numbers up in the evening. So how do you hunt just feed zones when they do it at different times? You see what I'm saying? In other words, they're acknowledging that the water is the way to do your grinds, but making it more difficult overall. I don't mind adding, a challenge to a game or making a game a little bit tougher, uh, but make it more of an option, And so what ends up happening with these games is that you get players who, and like I said, I play on PlayStation, so the updates, when they come, they come. Uh, and I don't really mess with that kind of stuff. But if I was on Steam or something like that, you can play the older versions uh, a lot of times of your games. And a lot of people choose to do that because they don't want to lose what they've put hundreds, thousands of hours into. And so they end up kind of missing out on new stuff, or you kind of get into that, like I said, that sort of elitism of like, well, the old way was the better way. I'm not saying the old way was the better way. I'm just saying the old way is the way the game was presented to people when it first came out. So, if you put Call of the Wild when it first came out, I can't imagine. Like I said, when I came in, they were losing it over the dogs and some of the DLC guns. I mean, this has got to be something vastly. There we go, got another one. Vastly different than what they had gotten used to what they paid for, right? And enjoyed. So I guess the point of all this is that at a certain point, when you buy a game, like these days, you have to sort of accept the evolution.
I love the tufted duck. The males have cute haircuts, and the females look like they have lipstick on the end of their bills.
This guy's so nuts. But now he messed up my map. Thanks for your info. And like I said, so at some point you got to accept that when you buy a game these days, you're not buying a game that's necessarily going to look like it does the day you bought it. In 3 months, because the other issue is, and again, I'm not crying about it, I'm just explaining. The games are released these days aren't complete more often than not. People are just screaming for content and screaming to have these games out here to play, and the pressure is on these developers to get them out. And you know, it's apparently it's not super easy to make a game these days. You don't have a two-dimensional character hopping on, you know, platforming around and occasionally shooting a little fireball out. You know, it's a lot more to it than obviously. Get into PC and your next-gen consoles and the 60 FPS and all that stuff and all the mechanics and things that go along with that, well then, you know, it gets even tougher. So, like I said, when I saw all those updates, and you know, last week, I got another one. There's been, you know, Ark's updating, Conan's updating, Call of the Wild's updating, uh, Green Hell's updating, and some of it's just porting stuff over from the PC, you know. Some of it's just frame rate improvements. Some of it's, say, we got rid of that weird glitch where you fell through the earth. You know, this lady won't leave. There she goes. Nope. Alright, well, we might shoot a female just for kicks and giggles. We'll go scopeless, though. We'll go scopeless, though. Yeah. Make it a little more fun. Looked like a hit. Yeah, I got her. But like I said, we'll use this as an example. Every single map got reset. Every zone you had and everything that you were used to, you had to relearn. The mechanics have changed to make it run smoother, but it doesn't necessarily feel like the game it was. Quattro Colinas, like I said, is probably the best example. I loved that map. From 6 to like 10 in the morning, you could run into every single animal on the water on that map, including the wolves, which could, you know, show up and attack you. So literally ibex, mouflon, you know, between 6 and 12 basically. You could find all the animals pretty much in the same areas, and then the roe deer and the red deer had not only the same drink time, but a lot of times the same drink zones on at the same time. I loved it. I did so much of your shorter range weapons, shotguns, pistols, and definitely got my bow score up there. Like, like I feel lucky in this instance, in particular. You know, I feel lucky that I played the game when I did. Because I got to experience that. You know what? Just go find it, dude. I got to experience that in a way that you can't anymore. your roe deer and your red deer drink at different times. Everything does. You know, the water just doesn't feel very crowded anymore. You go and there's just red deer. You go and there's just roe deer, etc. Good dog. The spook radius is different. As the game went along, there were less and less hunting stands that you could buy on the maps. Less and less little info rocks that you could go and get that 100 experience on, and then it'd tell you about your little, give you your little fact on your fake area in your map. You know, there's tons and tons and tons of DLC weapons out now of varying types that, you know, are I don't know if OP. A little bit of a controller issue. I need a new controller. Hopefully I'm getting one for Christmas. There we go. There's another moose. I'll probably do it on this bit of water. Let's shoot this guy. Right here. There we go. Quit scratching. Put your head up. Couldn't get the spot, but it looked pretty good to me. Capper Callie is yelling at me. But again, if you were an Ark Day 1 player, that's a crazily different game now. If you're a Conan Exiles Day 1 player, etc., you know, there can be this feeling that what I learned, signed up for, played, paid for, isn't the game that it is today. And sometimes it might not be a game that you would buy today. You know, I quit playing Ark for lots of good reasons. But it's not something, you know, oh, Ark 2's coming out, you know, alright. I don't know if I'd play that game either, just because, A, I don't want to deal with any of that anymore. I seriously doubt they're going to be able to completely fix a lot of the problems that were in Ark as far as the community is concerned. And eventually, you know, Ark's just going to dwindle down over time as Ark 2 takes over. But what I'd like to say in that direction is, though, at least they're making a new game, right? I played 7 Days to Die. That game still isn't even out. There's the example I need. That game isn't even still out. So you have to sort of think about what you're doing these days. I don't buy video games right when they first come out anyway. I think that's kind of this might sound like a kind of a jerk thing to say, but to me, unless you have a real reason, let's see if I can get some liver. Yep. Uh, I don't know. Kids buy games when they first come out. You're a YouTuber who Twitcher reviews games, and then you got to buy that game when it first comes out. Me, I'm not buying anything until it's been out for at least 6 months to a year. Which makes it, I mean, kind of hard to get excited about games, but you know it's not going to be released complete. You know it's going to be buggy and glitchy, and they're going to have to do all these fixes, and the fixes are going to break other things, and etc. And that's just what you kind of have to expect in games these days. But so, like I said, I'm not that guy that's going to go out and buy it day one, pretty much ever. I want to know that at least when I start playing, it's going to work. But I do also believe that you have to change your expectations of the games that you're buying these days and realize that within months, a year, maybe a few, you might not even recognize what was at one time your favorite game to play. Alright, I do want to get out to this area right here. What time is it? Oh man, now we're gonna run it. Yeah, let's just have to find something. Case in point, you played 7 Days to Die day one. You're playing 7 Days to Die right now. And you're playing 7 days in 3 months to a year. Maybe it'll be released by then. Nah. I mean, that's the thing that kills me. Will there ever be a 7 Days to Die 2? And there's an argument to say, well, does there have to be? I mean, isn't this kind of the point? It is, but you're going to run in, or at least here's my thinking. If you can make it easier for people to play various versions of that, that'd be great. But that's too much work. That's too much time. Developers need to be split into like 3 teams on the same game because you've got the classic version, the middle version, and the version we're working on now. They don't have that kind of money, staffing, and even if they do, financially it might not make the best sense. So again, that's kind of what I think is frustrating me and a lot of gamers, not just old gamers like me, but new gamers too. Whatever came out today isn't necessarily going to be what you love, and like if they land on a year from now, 2 years from now, or whatever. You know, they were still updating art while they were working on art 2, but I mean, this is the last year apparently for events and, you know, the stuff they do for art. But if you like art for what it is now, good, because that's what it's going to be. Right, other than here, I didn't really get this other shoreline checked out. I definitely think I need a tent on this side of the water, so I might just put one over here in the middle, because I do have one on me. So somewhere in there maybe. I guess should probably go up though. So yeah, so you know, just overall in general, I feel like it's kind of weird these days, the whole state of gaming. And hello, what's up, little guys? But there he goes. I'm not against it. I'm not throwing out, a bunch of negativity or anything like that, or trying to anyway. I'm just saying that, you just be aware of work, I suppose, and that you really just kind of have to either have an open mind about gaming, period, particularly in a game that you really like or enjoy or love. If you are playing on a PC and have the ability to keep older versions, you might want to do that. It might make your experience happier, or you're able to keep that. But it also kind of sticks you in that situation where, yeah, I know, where you're like, you're kind of stuck in this place where maybe there is a new weapon that you want, or maybe there is a new um, animal or something that you'd really like to play and have, but because you'd have to update and change what you love and get rid of your quote-unquote game, just to get something fun that they've added to it. So if you like Super Mario Brothers, you can play Super Mario Brothers. If you like chucking turnips in Super Mario 2, you can play Super Mario 2. You want to fly around like a raccoon in Super Mario 3, you can do that. They're their own games. They stand on their own. And like I said, I'm not really knocking updates and changes and fixes or DLC. I'm just saying that it's a bit confusing. It feels a little schizophrenic at times. I'm this game, I'm this game, I'm that game, I'm this game, I'm that game, I'm this game. And how much are we catering to, your base players, and then at a certain point, do you need to change that to bring in new players who want something different? Did I put my marker on a semi-flat place? That'd be kind of dope. Looks like it. There we go. Get up, pizza. So what I'm going to do now is, even though the moose zones should be out of their drink zones, I'm going to run the water line and see if there's any leftover moose zones. Now, that's the way I like to recommend. Don't forget, you usually have 3 to 4 hours after animals are off their drink or eat or whatever to still pick up their zones. It's a great way to find water buffalo, Cape buffalo, lion, wolf, any of the predators and the things that can kill you. Figure out, find a drink zone. Wait 30 minutes till it's over. You're still going to run into those animals. They'll be feeding and eating. Feeding and eating, huh? Feeding and maybe just still leaving the area of the water. So you can still run into them. Hey, buddy. Ooh, what you doing? Getting ready to run, aren't you? Aren't you? Keep standing up. No. Pop, old brown bear. Come up, 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 come up. Got him. Alright. Yeah, he's done. So let's talk about Call of the Wild for a bit, the game I'm currently playing. So a lot of the changes, do I like them? No, not really, if I'm being honest. Um, I think that is the game more challenging than it used to be? Yes. Went this way. This way. Um, do I think that's completely necessary? No, I don't. I don't think they needed to change the spook radius. I don't think they needed to spread the animals out like they did some. Hey, buddy. Still fuzzball. Silver metal, right lung. Look at this bad boy. Chunky, bud. Like the way his fur makes him look like he's got ridges in his belly. Nice. And I think I saw a rest zone over here. Go grab that. There it is. Was this a bar? Links. Um, and recently I've been, although I will give some accolades where accolades are due, the last two maps have finally started beefing up the story again. Listen, the story mode in this game is not thrilling, exciting, or particularly well acted or good. Okay? That's not why I think the story is important. I think the story is important because it provides experience and cash to new players. And after Silver Ridge, it slowly, you got less hunting stands, less the little info rocks. Um, so, you know, you don't get the 100 experience for buying a hunting stand. You don't get the 100 experience for finding those rocks as often as you could on the old maps. I think Mississippi is probably one of the uh, best examples of like the least amount of work they put onto that map. Oh, there's hardly any story in that one. Nailed it. I think there was like 10 missions or something like that, and that was it. And I was like, well, okay, well, there'll be more side missions. And just like every main mission at the end of they're like, okay, and we'll give you a holler later. Okay, they don't. It had hardly any hunting stands, hardly any info rocks. It's a shit map, in my personal opinion. Excuse my language. But, man, I lived in Mississippi. I wanted to play the Mississippi map. I was super excited. And I thought that was just one of the most disappointing things they've ever put out in this whole series of maps and games. Beyond alligators and really big whitetail. And even then, the alligator mechanic is stupid. I don't like it. You know. There he is. What's shaking bacon? Nice rack. Pretty color. Gold medal. A little high, I would imagine, if I got the vertebrae. And then, like, there's another change I would like. I would like it to just automatically go to X-ray, please, instead of just the picture of the deer. Like, I don't need 2 extra steps that way. That one really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why? I don't need extra steps, y'all, just to do what I was normally doing anyway. There we go. I knew there would be another moose zone out here somewhere, hopefully. I was really hoping for a couple through here, but I might need to come back. Check it on another day. I think they're focusing a bit more on the varmint hunting and the birds. You know, smaller game and birds. Yeah, I don't really care about that very much. But I understand that change because there are a lot of people that do really enjoy that. So there we go, got another one. I wouldn't say, you know, that's a bad thing. That's just a different thing for me. It's not something I'm that interested in. I don't really go on fox hunts and coyote hunts, and probably won't. Alright. Alright, so I got a tent down in the middle of this mess. That's good. I'll probably want a tent out here in the middle somewhere of this. I think I'll make that my next objective. But yeah, I was very much not a fan of Mississippi. I spent 9 or 10 long episodes working that map over, I'm telling you. And pretty much hating every minute of it. I tried to love it. I respect it for them wanting to make a more difficult map. Oh, we're right on the water, shoot. But, you know, probably my least favorite map out of all of them so far. The New England map's alright. But I got the feeling again this is probably not going to be like it's probably not going to be like a top tier favorite map of mine. It looks beautiful. It reminds me of Hirschfelden, another beautiful, absolutely gorgeous map, but not a map I have a lot of fun with. I would say I would call it Hirschfelden light, as in like the water is so much more huntable, the river is much more huntable. Um, you know, it's not as thick, it's not as frustrating, and I know with changes uh, to Hirschfelden, apparently the feed zones and the fields are finally what people wanted them to be. Uh, I would say probably what they should have been, right? And you can get out there and just find all kinds of animals in their feed zones. I think that's awesome. So maybe Hirschfelden's got to bump up too, but again, you know, Hirschfeld, not one of my favorite maps either. Uh, Especially because I did try to do it with just the first 3 weapons and no dog. Hated it. So, but I am happy that. Oh, I thought those were ducks. That they bumped up the stories. The one thing that I really think they've really just kind of cheesed on. Oh, look at this little guy. That's a 3. What are you doing, buddy? I guess we'll give him a minute. Um, but like I said, being hey, that worked for you, didn't it? More. Oh, I like the color in this one. She pretty. And this is another change. It doesn't matter that it's almost 1 o'clock. The animals are still running in. And did I think it was cheesy that I could set it to 12:31, get down to the water, and everybody was just auto there, sitting around, standing very still, except for when they glitched on and off the shores and around. Eh, Okay, yeah, that was a little cheesy. Uh, but it can make finding zones and doing things a bit more difficult. Sometimes. Sorry, this is a big body of water. I'm kind of curious. I might just take the boat just for giggles, man, and see where it puts me out. Oh yeah, I don't hate that. That worked out pretty well. And like I said, I'm always going to give props where props are due. But again, this was a learning experience, right? For all of us, the developers and the players. That adding the ability to grid across some of these bigger body water would, sort of make sense. Oh wait. Oh, I thought it was like competition rowboats. If you ever been to where they race rowboats, you'll find docks like those. So I guess basically these days, and then most younger gamers and newer gamers and even some old farts like myself are getting to that point where you just kind of gotta accept that, it's a new world, society, it's a new situation, it's a new type of development, it's a new type of everything. If you don't roll with the punches and grow, you're just going to be one of those old people that sits around and complain all the time, and you're not going to have any new experiences, and you're not going to be able to enjoy things, and you're just going to get jaded and be like, games, stupid. Now, I don't think I'll ever be one of those guys. Like I said, a lot of I'm a Gen Xer, a lot of my friends hate, all they do is complain, yeah, music's no good anymore. And what kills me is Gen X in particular. Those were our parents. They trashed all our music. They hated all our culture. They hated all our. Pretty much just hated us, period. Our parents hate us, by the way. Boomers hate their children and their grandchildren. I love my children and can't wait to have some grandbabies. So. Sometimes the best lesson you can learn is not to be like the people that were before you. Like when Pizza was disciplined as a child, I'm not going to say bad because that's how a lot of Gen Xers like to think of it. Yeah, I was a bad kid. Were you? Anyway, ooh, that was a pretty little noise. Uh, when I was, quote unquote, when I did something bad, they beat me, right? They physically abused me. Uh, that was just the way they did it. And if you ask them now, they don't apologize, even though they know they're wrong now. Everything says they're wrong. Pizza, what did you do with your children? Did you beat them and spank them? Or even just spank them growing up? Did you hit them with wooden spoons? Did you chase them around the house, smacking them with a belt? No. They're good kids. It's crazy. And not prone to physical violence, unlike a lot of my Gen X peeps, and myself included from years ago. It took time to work through that rage. There's a word, it's called impotent rage. And it's just, you can't do anything about the problem that you're having. I'm 9 years old, I can't fight my aggressor. Where do you think all that anger goes? It just disappears? No. Oh, look at there! Look at him sitting on there, on that rock. He's laid up all weird. I love it. This is my. Oh, ooh, hey. 221. Not a bad whitetail. What a weird shot that would be. Can you imagine? I can't. I'm gonna try to shoot him here in a minute. But I'm gonna wait for these moose to get to where they're going. Hopefully. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna try to kill this guy. Oh, oh, ooh, 208. That's better than that other one, wasn't it? Or is that him? Oh, that's 221. All right, I don't know. Like where even? See, I like a challenge. Ugh, ugh. Look at that. I mean, that's pretty hard these days, especially with the Argus scope. Am I standing up? No. Yeah, let's at least get out here in this goosh. Here's one old fart piece of wisdom I would say, and something I'm not going to change. I'm not going to buy any brand new game that comes out ever again. Even in titles uh, that I would tend to trust. So if Grand Theft Auto 6 came out tomorrow, I'm not buying it right away. Double check that range. 250. Yeah, up so fast, so fast. I mean, he got up and just like that. And we'll see about that second shot. Might have hit him in the spine. There's a vertebrae. But I nuked that first one. Yeah. But other than that, I'm just trying to be open-minded. I love video games. I love varying types of video games. The only kind of thing I don't really like is PvP in my role-playing games because I'm trying to role-play. It's hard to find that way to play PvP in a game without it being a total crap fest full of negativity, toxicity. Oh, I did get him! Yeah! That 308, y'all. My God. The M1. Well, let's do it in order of. Let's switch that around. Let's do what I consider best to third best of 4 to 8. I'm gonna go. The best is the 308. The second best for me is the 303, and the third best is the M1. We'll give a shout out to the 7mm, but I don't like one-shot guns. Oh ho ho ho! Ladies and gentlemen, Conan Exiles has updated. Thought he was right here. Oh, there he is. I'll go find out what that does. This. I started playing Ark about a year before, and that's counting the release date. About a year till. Oh yeah, I like the rack on this one. It's got a little curve on the end, right there. Get out of the picture. Yeah, it looks good. Chonky. Still there. Lung and liver. I love the lung and liver shot. Look at the colors on this guy. Up around his neck and face. Gorgeous. Pretty deer. Alright, homie, let's go see what we did to this other one. Let's say, might be somewhere right in there. And to all the old gamers out there, all I can tell you is you just got to open your mind up. You got to relax. Like I said, what you grew up with isn't what's happening anymore. It's okay. It doesn't make what you had better. And to folks and people that are into newer stuff, it doesn't make that old stuff bad either. That's one thing that kind of kills me about. I feel like when I was a kid, and you always know that's a shitty comment, but I think it's more or less about availability. So when I was a kid coming up, there wasn't a lot of heavy metal stations or rap stations, and eventually grunge stations, which were the three types of music I was really, as a youth, that I focused on and really enjoyed. I was there for the birth of rap, and absolutely, you know, changed my life. I was there for the birth of heavy metal, uh, glam metal, hair metal, metal. Give it up to me all. I love it all. Uh, I saw the death knell of punk, so that was nice for me too. But what was on the radio was what people would call classic rock these days. Which is why one of my favorite bands is Aerosmith. Aerosmith was popular enough in my day, no doubt. But they weren't like what the kids were listening to. I got made fun of every now and then for listening to Aerosmith, uh, the Rolling Stones, and but after a while, it kind of became trendy to get back into this classic rock. Guys, yes, thank you. Shut up. So, do I know Foreigner songs and Boston songs? Yeah. Uh, do I know who Golden Earring is? Hey, that's a good song. You should check that out. Do I know who, whatever? Could I, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, all the 60s folks? Yeah, that's all the stuff my parents listened to in the car. And honestly, that was all the stuff that was still on the radio because the radio was kind of shitty when I was a teen. Where's the mail? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? No, 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 no. Oh, shit. Got him. No scope, baby. I mean, you would hope from however many yards that was. He's dead. uh, that will never die. You understand? It doesn't matter if you're a day one player today, you just bought this game, and you're like, who is this guy Payatla? He's the guy you should subscribe and watch to right now. But let me tell you what, that is so awesome. Man, I'm pumped. Just hey, let's get the rest zone first. Always pick up the zone before you pick up your animal. And it's capercaillie. Or grouse. And check around because it could be whitetail zone mixed in. Examine track. Alright. Booyah! Look at this little feller. Oh, he's a two. Oh, I love it. 2, 4, 6, 7 point, 8 point. Barely. Got them little tines. You're so cute. Yeah. That isn't gonna get old ever. That's never gonna get old. What time is it? Yeah, maybe we'll find a moose, so though I just blasted my rifle in here. Where am I at on the map? Am I down below? Oh, no. So the southern part of the map is sort of like the crazy bird zone, but they're all over the place. Like I said, to my old fart gamers, you probably have enough money to own a PC and or a new uh, next gen console. You know, just don't buy the game when it first comes out. Give it some time to settle in before you get angsty and angry. Ooh wee! That is a big 4. I might shoot that dude. Anything? Well, give me all your zones, please. Oh, this! I finally found a Moose Lake. Gimme, 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 gimme. Let's see if I can get these ducks too. Alright, let's switch to the rifle real quick. There we go, there we go. Got them. Alright. Back this way. Probably would have alerted anything with that gunshot. Looks good. Looks good. Alright, what was the range on this dude? 2 something. 250. Not bad. I don't really want to... If I could go out here and get a little closer, but I'm not going to get that broadside shot, so we'll just make it work. Hopefully. Take one more big moose, and then I'm probably going to call it a video. You know what? Sit your butt down. This looks like a good place to put a hunting stand. Tripod right in here. Got 3 zones right in front of me. There might be some more around though. Ooh, I love this dude. I love this dude. Yeah, I want to try to get a little more broadside though. Yeah. Oh, he's gorgeous. And to the new players, I'd say, you know, have a little patience with the old players. They're cranky old farts. And they're used to doing something that you're not, you know. Sometimes it was harder. Sometimes they went through all the glitches and all the bugs and all the trash that these games put out these days. And they still stuck by it. They still supported. They bought DLC. They poured the cash into it. That has made it the game that it is today. I'm not saying you have to kiss their ass. I'm just saying maybe be a little understanding of where they come from. Respect is not something you give to someone just because they're friggin' old. It still has to be earned. Oh, this looks good. This looks good. 233 yards. That's a pizza shot if I ever saw one. No. I wonder if I can go prime. Get a little more stability. There we go. There we go. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. This might take a second. I want this one. I want them all, but no. And this is what I'm talking about. That's fine. You made my shot a little more difficult, a little more challenging, and a little more exciting. No. Next time his head comes up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Right. Felt good. There he goes. Off into the woods. He's dead. Nice. Oh man, that'd be a great way. All right, let's get. Let's go. And yes, if you want to fight pizza on Fortnite or Battlefield, if you want to play any of these new games, don't be afraid. Like I said, I'm not. Most games these days, PvP is just a trashy, toxic land of garbage. But not always. And like The caveat that you have to do on anything that you do these days is just say, not every server's the same. Not everyone's an asshole. You can find good places. And you can. But a lot of games of PvP aren't really games that I want to be PvP. So, oof, there's that too. Like I said, Fortnite, Battlefield, Call of Duty, all those games that are supposed to be let's kill everyone. Let's form squads. Let's get crazy. Yeah. But anything else, I'm gonna want a single player or probably single player or maybe PvE in games that build. But I'll try new things. Oh, I was talking about the music. Listen to new music. Give it a shot. You'll you know just at what you hear. You might discover that an artist that has a song out that you think is trash and whatever. They got like 4 songs out that you might find really enjoyable. So don't just turn off your engine there. Don't just decide that you have the best music ever, the best whatever. You're not going to find new stuff. There he is. Yeah, I didn't think he was going far. That looked good to me. I think we double on this dude. Woo! Look at this fella right here. Oh, he's got like a wonky. Ooh, look at this. He's only got the one paddle. Oh, that's pretty dope. The picture, Rascal. That's why his name is Rascal. Good color. I might trophy this one out. Yep, definitely double on him. 247. He hit big. Nice. All right, let's do the extra 2 buttons I need to see where my shot went. Look at that placement, y'all. Boom, boom. Both lungs. Barely got in that second one, but I'm really not good at turning this thing around. There we go. Just go to that view, please, and then I can choose to look at it if I want to. That'd be good. 6 grand. Yeah. I kind of want this one, though. He's got that weird little paddle there, so shovel, whatever you call him. I've never hunted a moose in my life, except in this game. Alright, I wanted to get out towards the middle, put a tent down, so there's 4 lakes here. I don't know, maybe somewhere in here. And then I'm going to call it a video and rant over. Got hit with the hiccups. Whew, I think they're gone. Alright. Yeah, I was going to try to wrap it up, but I feel like I already did, All people give it a shot. Stop being so old. People, please extend a little of patience for us old fogies. Everybody just try to have fun. Let's get in here and buy a couple more tents. Pizza, why do you only use blue tents? Is it because you're a dude? It's the top tent. Grab 3. And there you go. Well, if you happen to catch this dissertation, whether it's viable, annoying, or whatever, feel free to like or not, comment or not, do your thing. But I hope you found something entertaining. So, if you happen to catch this, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And if you see this at a later date or time, thanks for watching. Hope you guys are having a good day, and y'all be good to each other.